Impact of Budget 2023-24 on Direct Taxes. Manish Mehta, Bachelor of Laws, CACS.IRP. Income Tax Proposals. Change in Rates of Tax. Change in Rates of Tax. There is no change in tax rates for any person. New tax regime U/S115 back. There has been change in tax slabs. Your new tax regime U/S115 back as follows. Change in rates of tax. This would be available to a OP other than Cooperative Society POI, AJP also apart from individual and HUF, which was allowed earlier too. Highest rate of surcharge U/S115 back has been reduced/restricted to 25% of income tax from earlier rate of surcharge at 37%. In case of AOTs that consist of only companies as their members, the maximum surcharge is restricted to 15%. Standard deduction of DARS. 50,000/ for salaried employees and standard deduction for family pension U/S57 of lower 1/3 road percent or DARS. 15,000/ is allowed, which was not allowed earlier. Apart from deduction U/S80 CCD2 and ADJJAA, now deduction under new Section 80 CCH2 Agnifer Corpus Fund only would be allowed under Chapter VIA in new scheme. Change in rates of tax. Adjustments in case of unabsorbed additional depreciation allowance WRT block of assets which has not been given full effect prior to I-2024 shall be made to the WDV of such block of assets as on 1st April 2023. Relief U/S87A allowed to only resident individual up to DARS. 25,000/ i.e., income till DARS. 7 blocks. This regime would be the default option and any specified person wanted to go to old regime has to opt for the same. New tax regime for cooperative society introduced which is engaged in manufacturing at 15% U/S115B in lines with Section 115 BAB for manufacturing companies. Surcharge would be 10% of such tax. Cons. Income from salary. The limit of DARS. 3 lakh for tax exemption on leave encashment on retirement of non-government salaried employees has been increased to Rs. 25 lakhs. Salary contribution made to Agnifer Corpus Fund under the Agnipathy scheme referred in Section 80 CCH shall be considered as salary of that individual. Perquisites. The method of computation for the value of rent-free accommodation shall be computed in the manner as per rules. Also, the accommodation shall be deemed to be at a concessional rate if value of accommodation provided by rules exceeds the rent recoverable or payable by the assessor. Profit and gains from business or profession. Profit and gains from business and profession. Clause IV of Section 28 providing the value of any benefit or perquisite, whether convertible into money or not, arising from business or the exercise of a profession shall be chargeable to income tax under the head profits and gains of business or profession to be amended to apply to cases where benefit or perquisite provided is in cash or in kind or partly in cash and partly in kind. WEF from 1st April 2024. Profit and gains from business and profession. Section 35D2A relating to amortization of certain preliminary expenses including preparation of feasibility report, preparation of project report, conducting marketing survey or any other survey necessary for the business of the assess, engineering services related to the business of the assess within the scope of preliminary expense are to be carried by assess or by a concern authorized by assess and provide that assessee to furnish a statement containing the particulars of expenditure instead to be approved by the board. WEF from 1st April 2024. Profit and gains from business and profession. Section 43B Amendments. Clause H inserted stating that any amount payable to MSME beyond the period specified in Section 15 of MSME Act 2006, i.e., 15/45 days, shall be allowed to be deducted on actual payment only. Further, deduction is not allowed on accrual basis if the payment is made before filing of the return/S-139-1, but in the year of payment only. Clause D is amended to substitute the expression "a deposit-taking non-banking financial company" for "systemically important non-deposit-taking non-banking financial company" with such class of non-banking financial companies as may be notified by the central government in the official gazette in this behalf and deals with interest payable to such NBFC on any loan or borrowing. Profit and gains from business and profession. Presumptive taxation. Section 4480. Presumptive taxation for business. The turnover or gross receipts limit increased to Rs. 3 crores increased from Rs. 2 crore only where the amount or aggregate of the amounts received by the eligible assessee during the previous year, in cash, does not exceed 5% of the total turnover or gross receipts of such previous year. WEF from 1st April 2024. Section 44(8). Presumptive taxation for specified profession. The gross receipts limit increased to Rs. 75 lakhs increased from Rs. 50 lakhs only where the amount or aggregate of the amounts received by the eligible assessee during the previous year, in cash, does not exceed 5% of gross receipts. WEF from 1st April 2024. Profit and gains from business and profession. Section 44BB providing for presumptive taxation for business of exploration, etc., of mineral oils for non-residents. Subsection 4 has been inserted in the said section stating that no set-off of unabsorbed depreciation and brought forward loss shall be allowed to an assessee where eligible assessee claims presumptive taxation U/S. 44BB1. WEF from 1st April 2024. Section 44BB providing for presumptive taxation for business of civil construction, etc., in certain turnkey power projects for non-residents. Subsection 3 has been inserted in the said stating that no set-off of unabsorbed depreciation and brought forward loss shall be allowed to an assessee where eligible assessee claims presumptive taxation U/S. 44BB1. WEF from 1st April 2024. Profit and gains from business and profession. First proviso to Section 44AB dealing with audit of accounts of certain persons amended to exempt audit for a person who declares profits and gains for the previous year in accordance with the provisions of Section 4481 or Section 4481, as the case may be. WEF from 1st April 2024. Section 43D with income of public financial institution, public companies, etc. and it is proposed to amend the said section to substitute the expression "a deposit-taking non-banking financial company" or "a systemically important non-deposit-taking non-banking financial company" with such class of non-banking financial companies as may be notified by the central government in the official gazette in this behalf. WEF from 1st April 2024. Capital gains. Capital gains. Section 45(5)(a) provides for computing income tax on capital gain on transfer of building or land or both for joint development agreements. For computing capital gain, full value of consideration shall be taken as the stamp duty value of his share has increased by consideration received by cash or by a check or draft or by any other mode, as earlier only amount received in cash was there. WEF from 1st April 2024. Section 47 provides transactions not regarded as transfers. It is proposed to extend the period for transfer of assets from original fund or of its wholly owned special purpose vehicle to a resultant fund in case of relocation to IFSCU/SA-1A from 31st March 2023 to 31st March 2025. WEF from 1st April 2023. Capital gains. A new clause is inserted in Section 47 so as to include conversion of gold into electronic gold receipt or electronic gold receipt into gold to not to be regarded as transfer. WEF from 1st April 2024. Section 48 provides for mode of computing of income tax on capital gain, i.e., deducting cost of acquisition of the asset and the cost of any improvement thereto from the full value of the consideration received or accruing as a result of the transfer of such capital asset. Clause II has been inserted stating that cost of acquisition of the asset or the cost of improvement thereto shall not include the deductions claimed on the amount of home loan interest under Section 24B or under the provisions of Chapter V of the Act. WEF from 1st April 2024. Capital gains. Section 49 provides for cost with reference to certain mode of acquisition. Subsection 10 has been inserted stating the cost of acquisition of gold for the purpose of computing capital gain shall be deemed to be the cost of electronic gold receipt in the hands of such person. WEF from 1st April 2024. Section 50AA relates to special provision for taxation of market-linked debentures. Full value of the consideration received or accruing as a result of the transfer or redemption or maturity of the market-linked debentures / cost of acquisition of the debenture and the expenditure incurred wholly or exclusively for transfer or redemption of such debenture shall be treated as short-term capital gains. WEF from 1st April 2024. Capital gains. Section 54 and 54F amended to provide that if the cost of the new asset purchase is more than Rs. 10 crores, the cost of such asset shall be deemed to be Rs. 10 crores. Further, it has been provided that for the purpose of deposit in the capital gains account scheme, the limit of such deposit shall also be Rs. 10 crores. Section 55 has been amended which defines the term cost of acquisition and cost of improvement of a capital asset. The amendment provides that cost of acquisition and cost of improvement of such capital asset being any intangible asset or any other right shall be nil. Income from other sources. Income from other sources. Section 56(2)(a) which taxes the excess amount received by a company on issue of share over the fair market value brings the non-resident and or investors of a company, not being a company in which the public are substantially interested, within the ambit of this section, which will make the provision applicable for receipt of consideration for issue of shares by such company from any person irrespective of his residency status. Earlier this section included the consideration received from a resident only. Section 56(2)(xii) inserted to tax any sum received by unit holder from infrastructure investment trust or right for repayment of debt which is not covered U/S1023 FC or 1023 FCA or taxable U/S115 UA. However, the sum received by a unit holder from a business trust is for redemption of unit or units held by him. The sum received shall be reduced by the cost of acquisition of the unit or units to the extent such cost does not exceed the sum received. WEF 1st April 2023. Income from other sources. Section 56(2)(xii) inserted to tax any sum received including bonus exceeding the premium pay other than amount received under ULIP or Keyman Insurance. Taxation on winnings from online gaming. Section 115 PB relating to the taxation of winnings from various forms of gambling or betting to be amended to exclude income from online games from the purview of this section for the assessment year beginning on or after April 1, 2024. Section 115 BBJ inserted for winnings from online games to be taxed at 30% on the net winnings from such online games, calculated in the manner as specified by rules. The total tax payable will be a combination of the tax on winnings withdrawn and the tax on the remaining income of the assessee at the end of the year. WEF 1st April 2024. Exemptions and deductions. Exemptions and deductions. Section 10(4)(e) amended to provide that distribution of income on offshore derivative instruments entered with offshore banking unit of IFSC shall also be exempted, but only to the extent of amount which is chargeable to tax in the hands of offshore banking unit U/S 11580. WEF from I-2024-25 exemption U/S 1010D for sum received as life insurance policy shall not be exempt other than unit-linked insurance policy which having premium payable more than 5 lakhs for policy issued on or after January 4, 2023. Section 1012C inserted to exempt any payment from Omnibus Corpus Fund under the Adnipathy scheme provided in SEC/ADCCH to a person enrolled in this scheme or his nominee. Exemptions and deductions. Exemption available to news agency under Clause 22B of Section 10 has been withdrawn from I-2024-25. Tax exemption to any income of Northeastern Development Finance Corp. Limited has been withdrawn by omitting Section 1023 PBF. Tax exemption to any income of Credit Guarantee Fund Trust for Small Industries Clause 23B income accruing or arising to any person from any source in District of Ladakh or outside India Clause 26A and income arising from transfer of capital asset, being an asset of an undertaking engaged in the business of generation or transmission or distribution of power Clause 41. Exemptions and deductions. Clause 46A inserted in Section 10 to exempt the total income of a body or authority or board or trust not being a company but established under Central or State Act for the purposes of dealing with and satisfying the need for housing accommodation planning, development or improvement of cities, towns and villages, regulating or developing any activity for the benefit of general public, or regulating any matter for the benefit of general public and is notified by CG in the Official Gazette. Exemptions and deductions. Says units can claim deduction U/S 10AA from I-2024-25 and onwards only if they furnish their return of income within the prescribed due date as per Section 139. Also, the said deduction shall be available if proceeds from sale of good or provision of services is received in India within a period of 6 months from end of the previous year or such further period as may be allowed by the RBI, or the proceeds are credited to the bank account maintained outside India with approval from the RBI. Additionally, it is proposed to make a consequential amendment to S 155(11)(a). This amendment will insert Section 10AA, which will allow the assessing officer to amend the assessment order later if the export earnings are realized in India after the permitted period. Exemptions and deductions. Following the sections omitted with effect from the first day of April, 2023. Section 80C of the Income Tax Act, subsection 7, Section 80CCC of the Income Tax Act, in subsection 3 Clause A, Section 80CCD of the Income Tax Act, in subsection 4 Clause A, Section 54EA of the Income Tax Act, subsection 3 Section 54EB of the Income Tax Act, subsection 3 Section 54EC of the Income Tax Act, in subsection 3 Clause A, Section 54AB of the Income Tax Act, in subsection 3 Clause A, subsection 1 the figures and letters 88, 88A, 88B, 88C, 88D in subsection 2 the words, figures and letters or Section 88 or Section 88A or Section 88B or Section 88C. Exemptions and deductions. Section 80 CCH inserted for an individual enrolled in the Adnipathy scheme and subscribing to the Ab Mitter Corpus Fund on or after the first day of November 2022, to allow deduction of the whole of the amount deposited by him and also the amount contributed by the central government to his account in the Ab Mitter Corpus Fund, from his total income. Section 80G2 provides the list of funds to which any sum paid by the assessee in the previous year is allowed as deduction. Out of total available funds mentioned under this subsection, 3 funds have been omitted: the Jawaharlal Nehru Memorial Fund, the Indira Gandhi Memorial Trust, the Rajiv Gandhi Foundation. Exemptions and deductions. Further, another amendment to Section 80G provides for the procedure for granting approval to certain institutions and funds receiving donation and the allowable deductions in respect of such donations to the assessee making such donations. Section 80 IAC of the Act provides for a deduction of an amount equal to 100% of the profits and gains derived from an eligible business by an eligible startup for 3 consecutive assessment years out of 10 years which is incorporated on or after 1st day of April 2016, but before 1st day of April 2023. Now it is proposed to extend the period of incorporation of eligible start UPS to 1st day of April. Exemptions and deductions. From I-2024 to 25 onwards, an assessee, being an individual resident in India whose income is chargeable to tax under the new tax regime, shall now be entitled to a rebate of 100% of income tax payable on a total income not exceeding Rs7 lakh. This rebate is allowed to assessors opting for old tax regime on total income not exceeding Rs. 5 lakhs only. Section 88 deals with rebate on life insurance premia, contribution to Provident Fund, etc. This clause proposes to omit this section as it was terminated by Finance Act 2005 and Section 80C was incorporated. Further, Section 111A and 112 has also been amended to omit clauses related to Section 88. WEF 1st April 2023. Amendments related to trust and other such institutions. Amendment related to trust and other institutions. Depositing back of corpus/loan/borrowing, not allowed if claimed as application prior to January 4, 2021. Corpus or the loan or borrowing amount repaid shall not be considered as application for charitable or religious purposes unless repayment is made within 5 years from the end of PI in which application was made from loan or borrowing. It is proposed to consider only 85% of the eligible donations made by a trust or institution to another trust or institution as application of such donation for charitable or religious purposes. Following the trust or institution shall apply for registration, where the activities. Amendment related to trust and other institutions have not commenced at least 1 month prior to the PI relevant to I from which the said registration is sought. Commenced but no income or part thereof has been excluded from total income. 2 and E3 Road and 4th Proviso to be omitted under Section 12A. Benefit of S. 1023C/11/12 not to be given if ITR not filed by the due date U/S139-1 or 139-4. Form 9A/10 to be filed at least 2 months prior to due date U/S139. Amendment related to trust and other institutions. Procedure for fresh registration. When the Principal Commissioner or Commissioner is not satisfied with the objects or genuineness of trust or institution's activities, then he shall pass the order to reject the application and cancelling its registration after affording a reasonable opportunity of being heard. 2. A new clause is inserted to provide specified violation when the application is incomplete or contains false or incorrect information. Amendment related to trust and other institutions. benefit of Section 1023C/11/12 not to be given if ITR not filed by the due date U/S-139-1 or 139-4, due to updated return. Non-renewal of registration after defined period to be covered U/S-115TD to be taxed as accreted income at maximum marginal rate. WEF 1st April 2023. Provisions related to updated return of income. Provisions related to updated return of income. The Finance Act of 2022 has inserted the new Section 139(8)(a), which allows taxpayers to file updated returns within 2 years of the end of the relevant assessment year, subject to conditions and payment of additional tax. The amount of additional tax is determined through Section 140B. Section 140B-4 provides for the computation of interest under Section 234B on the updated return, which is calculated on the difference between the assessed tax and the advance tax. The proposed amendment clarifies that the interest is computed on the assessed tax after deducting the advance tax claimed in an earlier return. International taxation. Section 92D is about the requirement for assessee who have entered into international or certain domestic transactions to keep information and documents related to such transactions, e.g. transfer pricing study. If the tax authorities need these records, they can ask for the same and the assessee has 30 days to submit these documents. Now this time limit has been reduced to 10 days. However, the authorities can still extend the deadline by another 30 days if needed. WEF 1st April 2023 Section 94B provides for disallowance of interest if they owe more than 1 crore rupees in interest to a non-resident associated enterprise. The amount they can deduct is limited to 30% of their earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation and amortization or interest paid or payable to associated enterprise. Interest to banks and insurance entities were already excluded. Now interest payable specified NBFCs is also to be excluded. WEF 1st April 2024. Amendments related to assessment proceedings. Amendments related to assessment proceedings. To reduce the burden of Commissioner of Income Tax appeals having powers to confirm, reduce, enhance or annul/cancel an order of assessment or an order of penalty. The new authority for appeals is being proposed to be created at Joint Commissioner/Additional Commissioner level to handle certain class of cases having small amount of disputed demand and giving them powers under the following sections. U/S-131 powers regarding discovery, production of evidences, etc. U/S-133 power to call information from U/S-134 power to inspect register of companies. U/S-150 for rectification of mistakes. U/S-100 amendments related to assessment proceedings. U/S-158 baby procedure where an identical question of law is pending before High Court or Supreme Court. U/S-278 penalty for underreporting and misreporting of income. U/S-271 failure to furnish returns, comply with notices, concealment of income, etc. U/S-271 failure to keep, maintain or retain of books of account, documents, etc. U/S-271 AAC penalty in respect of certain income. U/S-271 AAB penalty for false entry, etc. in books of accounts. U/S-271J penalty for furnishing incorrect information in reports or certificates. U/S-275 bar of limitation for imposing penalties. Amendments related to assessment proceedings. The proposed amendment to the Section 132 of the Act allows the authorized officer to requisition the services of any person or entity approved by the Principal Chief Commissioner or the Chief Commissioner, or the Principal Director General or the Director General, in accordance with the procedure prescribed by the Board. Additionally, the authorized officer may also make reference to any person or entity or any valuer registered under any law to estimate the fair market value of a property during and post-search inquiries. The valuer must submit the report of the estimated fair market value to the authorized officer or the assessing officer within 60 days from the receipt of the reference. WEF from 1st April 2023. Amendments related to assessment proceedings. Timeline for completing the assessment or reassessment in search cases is linked to the execution of the last authorization during the search procedure. To provide clarity, it is proposed to provide the meaning of execution of last authorization under Section 132 itself, since the provisions of Section 153b are no longer applicable. WEF from 1st April 2022 new proviso introduces to Section 135a for faithless collection of information that central government may amend any direction, issued on or before 31st March 2022 by notification in Official Gazette. Amendments related to assessment proceedings. Section 142(2)(a) to be amended to prevent permanent deferral of taxes through undervaluation of inventory. The assessing officer will be able to direct the assessee to get the inventory valued by a cost accountant in practice nominated by the tax authority. The assessee will be given the opportunity to be heard in case the assessment is based on the material gathered from the inventory valuation. WEF from 1st April 2023 Section 148 to be amended to streamline the process of conducting reassessment proceedings under the Act. The amendment proposes to shorten the time frame for furnishing the return in response to a notice under Section 148 of the Act to 3 months or as allowed by the assessing officer, and if returns furnished after this time frame the same will not be considered as a return. U/S 139 of the Act, and accordingly assessing officer will not mandatorily require to issue notice U/S 143(2). Amendments related to assessment proceedings. A proviso in Section 149 to be inserted to provide additional time for the assessing officer to issue the notice under Section 148 in cases where a search under Section 132 or requisition under Section 132(a) is conducted after 15th March of a financial year. The provision will exclude a period of 15 days for computing the period of limitation for the issuance of notice, and the notice will be deemed to have been issued on 31st March of the financial year. It is proposed to clarify that the approving authority under Clause II of S. 151 would be the Principal Chief Commissioner, Principal Director General, Chief Commissioner, or Director General. Additionally, a proviso has been proposed to be added to S. 151 to make it clear that while computing the 3-year period for determining the approving authority, any time excluded or extended as per the provisions in Section 149 of the Act for issuing the notice under Section 148 of the Act must be taken into account. Amendments related to assessment proceedings. Time period to complete assessment provided in Section 153 again increased from 9 months from the end of the financial year in which the return was furnished to 12 months from the end of the assessment year or financial year in which the return was furnished. The provisions of subsection 3, 5 and 6 of Section 153 of the Act shall also be applicable to order under Section 263 or Section 264 passed by the Principal Chief Commissioner or Chief Commissioner. WEF from 1st April 2023. Amendments related to assessment proceedings. It is proposed to insert subsection 19 to S. 155 in order to provide the relief U/S 36(1) clause XDII where deduction for expenditure incurred for the purchase of sugarcane has been claimed by the assessee and disallowed in whole or in part. The assessing officer shall recompute the assessee's total income for that previous year based on an application made by the assessee, and the assessing officer will allow the deduction to the extent that the expenditure was incurred at a price equal to or less than the price fixed or approved by the government for that previous year. WEF from 1st April 2023. Amendments related to assessment proceedings. To resolve the issue of taxpayers not being able to claim TDS credit for income already disclosed in previous year's return, an amendment has been proposed to streamline the process and facilitate the TDS credit in such cases by inserting Clause 22(s)(155) in order to allow the assessee to make an application to the assessing officer for such TDS credit in a subsequent financial year when the income was already disclosed in the return of income in a previous year. The application must be made within 2 years from the end of the financial year in which TDS was deducted. Interest on refund would be given from date of application U/S-244A. The provisions of Section 154 of the Act will apply, and the 4-year period will be counted from the end of the financial year in which TDS was deducted. WEF from 1st October 2023. Amendments related to assessment proceedings. S-270-AA6 to be amended by giving reference to the appeal filed under Section 246 before the Joint Commissioner Appeals to make it applicable under the provisions of the said subsection. New proviso introduces to Section 274 related to the procedure for imposing a penalty that central government may amend any direction, issued on or before 31st March 2022 by notification in Official Gazette. Section 241A has been made ineffective from 1st April 2023. This section provided power of withholding refunds in case the notice of assessment has been issued under Section 143(2). The power of such withholding shall now be available to AOs by virtue of Section 245. WEF 1st April 2023. Amendments related to assessment proceedings. Section 244 provides for interest to be paid to assessors on refund of income tax. The section is being amended to provide that additional interest on such refunds which has been on hold due to any assessment/reassessment proceedings shall not be given at additional rate for the period of such hold of refunds. WEF 1st April 2023 Section 245 amended to adjust any refund with any tax dues and withhold of a refund against any expected tax dues pending assessment or reassessment under any section has now been conferred upon the AO or Commissioner or Principal Commissioner or Chief Commissioner or Principal Chief Commissioner. S-241A submerged in this section now. WEF 1st April 2023. Amendments related to assessment proceedings. Section 245D to be amended to provide that where the time limit for amending an order or for making an application for rectification under subsection 6B expired on or after January 2, 2021 but before January 2, 2022, such time limit has been extended to September 30, 2023. WEF 1st February 2021 Section 245 MAE Dispute Resolution Scheme and 245 RE Advance Ruling Scheme 2022 has been amended to give power to central government to amend such directions which was issued for the purpose of giving effect to the scheme under these section before the expiry of its limitation, i.e. March 31, 2023 at any time by notification in the Official Gazette. WEF 1st April 2023. Amendments related to TDS/TCS. Amendments related to TDS/TCS. TCS under Section 206(c)(1)(g). Amendments related to TDS/TCS. Section 192A provides for TDS on withdrawal of PF when employee fails to furnish its PAN in relation to receive any amount on which tax is deductible, was done at the maximum marginal rate. Now it is proposed to deduct at 20% instead of at the maximum marginal rate. W.E.F. First day of April 2023 TDS is proposed to be applicable on payment of interest on listed debentures to a resident under Section 193, which was earlier exempt from deduction. W.E.F. First day of April 2023 Section 194B to provide for TDS on winnings from lottery etc. on the amount or aggregate of the amounts exceeding Rs.10,000 during the financial year and to exclude online games from the purview of the said section from the first day of July 2023. Since a new Section 194B is proposed to be introduced for the same. W.E.F. First day of April 2023. Amendments related to TDS/TCS. Insertion of new Section 194B to provide for TDS on net winnings at the end of the financial year from online games. However, in case there is withdrawal from such account during the financial year, the income tax shall be deducted at the time of such withdrawal on net winnings comprised in such withdrawal. In a case where the net winnings are wholly/partly in kind or cash, the person responsible for paying shall ensure that tax has been paid in respect of the net winnings. W.E.F. First day of July 2023 Section 194B to provide for TDS on winnings from horse race on the amount or aggregate of the amounts exceeding Rs.10,000 during the financial year. Earlier it was not aggregate. W.E.F. First day of April 2023. Amendments related to TDS/TCS. Section 194N which provides for TDS from an amount equal to 2% of sum withdrawn from bank, only when the payment of amount or aggregate of amount in cash during the year exceeds 1 crore rupees. It is proposed that where the recipient is a cooperative society the amount is increased to 3 crore rupees. W.E.F. First day of April 2023 Section 194 are to be amended to clarify by way of insertion of an explanation to provide that provision of 10% TDS shall apply to benefit or perquisite whether in cash or in kind or partly in cash and partly in kind. W.E.F. First day of April 2023 Section 196A provides for TDS on payment of certain income to a non-resident not being a company or to a foreign company, at the rate of 20% in respect of income from units of a mutual fund as specified. It is proposed to provide that the TDS would be at the rate which is lower of the rate of 20% or the rate provided in Section 90/98 of the Act, in case of a pay has furnished the tax residency certificate. W.E.F. First day of April 2023. Amendments related to TDS/TCS. Section 197 amended to allow for grant of a certificate of tax deduction at lower or nil rate under Section 194 LB2. W.E.F. First day of April 2023 Section 206AB and Section 206CCA providing for special provision for higher TDS/TCS for non-filers of income tax returns amended to exclude a person who is not required to furnish a return of income for the assessment year relevant to the said previous year and who is notified by the central government in the Official Gazette. W.E.F. First day of April 2023. Set off and carry forward of losses. Set off and carry forward of losses. Section 72AA to be amended to allow carry forward of accumulated losses and unabsorbed depreciation allowance in the case of amalgamation of one or more banking company with any other banking institution or a company subsequent to a strategic disinvestment, if such amalgamation takes place within 5 years of strategic disinvestment. WEF 1st April 2023. The time period for loss of eligible start UPS for the purpose of carry forward and set off has been increased from 7 years to 10 years from the date of incorporation U/S 72A. WEF 1st April 2023. Penalties and prosecution. Currently, there is no clear requirement for penalty or prosecution for a person who does not pay or ensure payment of tax in situations where the benefit or perquisite is passed in kind. The proposal suggests adding 2 new subclauses to Section 271C and similar amendments to Section 276B to clarify that a penalty and prosecution are applicable in such situations. The proposal also includes drafting changes to align the language with related provisions. WEF 01 April 2023. As a result of a proposal to insert Section 194B into the legal act, it is proposed to add a new subclause under Sections 271C and 276B. This new subclause would refer to Section 194B2, indicating that provisions related to penalty and prosecution would apply in relation to that section as well. W.E.F.1 St. July 2023. Penalties and prosecution. A new subsection 2 is proposed to be inserted in Section 285B, which will impose a penalty of Rs. 5,000 on reporting financial institutions for any inaccuracies in the financial transaction statement due to false or inaccurate information submitted by the account holder. The reporting financial institution can recover the penalty from the account holder. The prescribed authority to levy the penalty is the under Section 285B1. Section 276B providing rigorous imprisonment from 3 months to 7 years extended for violations to pay tax U/S 194R, 194S and 194B. No proceedings to be initiated under Section 276A, which punishes liquidators, people who handle the closing of a company for not following a specific rule. Section 178 or after January 4, 2023. Penalties and prosecution. Prosecution to be an instance of Commissioner. A person shall not be proceeded against for an offense under Section 276 or Section 277 or Section 278 except at the instance of the Commissioner. The Commissioner may either before or after the institution of proceedings compound any such offense. Miscellaneous provisions. Miscellaneous provisions. Section 269 SS to be amended to raise the limit of loan taken or deposit accepted by a primary agricultural credit society PAC for a primary cooperative agricultural and rural development bank PCA-RDB from its members from Rs. 20,000 to Rs. 2 lakhs. WEF 1st April 2023. Section 269T to be amended to raise the limit of loan or deposit repaid by a primary agricultural credit society PAC for a primary cooperative agricultural and rural development bank PCA-RDB to its members from Rs. 20,000 to Rs. 2 lakhs. WEF 1st April 2023. Substitution of new section for Section 178, which provides procedural amendment is made for processing modified tax returns in case of business reorganization issued by tribunal or court or an adjudicating authority under the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, 2016. Miscellaneous provisions. The successor entity shall furnish, within a period of 6 months from the end of the month in which the said order was issued, a modified return and will enable modification of the returns filed by the predecessor wherever required. 3. Further, It is proposed that the assessing officer shall pass an order modifying the total income of the relevant assessment year in accordance with the order of the business reorganization and taking into account the modified return so furnished. W.E.F. First day of April 2023. The following persons are being excluded from the purview of Section 115JC and Section 115JD of the Income Tax Act relating to the tax credit of minimum alternate tax and alternate minimum tax respectively. Miscellaneous provisions. The person has exercised the option referred to in subsection 5 of Section 115 BAC, subsection 5 of Section 115 BAD, or subsection 5 of Section 115 B, or the income tax payable in respect of the person's total income is computed under subsection 1A of Section 115 BAC. W.E.F. 1st April 2024. Thank you.